The death of evangelist Jimmy Swaggart sent shockwaves through the Christian world. Followers across the globe mourned the loss of a man who built an empire of faith, music, and television. But while the pews were filled with tears and tributes, behind closed doors a storm was brewing, one that could shatter the fragile balance of power within the Swaggart dynasty. Because just days after Jimmy's passing, a name that the family thought they had buried in their past suddenly resurfaced: Creflo Dollar. And he didn't come empty-handed. Instead, he came with a contract. A contract signed years ago between him and Matthew Swaggart, Jimmy's grandson, the digital brain of the ministry. A contract that allegedly tied Matthew's unique skills, innovation, and strategies exclusively to Creflo Dollar's ministry for 5 full years. The problem? That contract was never fully dissolved. And according to sources close to both ministries, Creflo Dollar is now demanding that Matthew abandon the Swaggart family's empire and fulfill the $20 million deal he agreed to years ago. How it all began: the secret agreement. Sources claim that around 3 years ago, Matthew Swaggart faced a crucial decision. Known for his behind-the-scenes brilliance in media production, online strategy, and digital ministry growth, Matthew had become the quiet powerhouse of the Swaggart empire. While Donnie was the fiery preacher and Gabriel was the young face of the pulpit, Matthew was the silent architect of the family's survival in the digital age. But maintaining such influence required resources and money. That's when Creflo Dollar allegedly stepped in. According to insiders, Creflo offered Matthew a staggering $20 million financial package, part loan, part investment, part buyout of skills. The deal was simple. For the next 5 years, Matthew would dedicate his technical expertise, digital innovations, and strategic mind exclusively to Creflo Dollar's ministry. No double commitments, no sharing with the Swaggarts. But then something unexpected happened. Jimmy Swaggart, who reportedly discovered this hidden agreement, intervened personally. Jimmy's intervention, the contract that died on paper. Jimmy Swaggart, despite his controversies, was known to be fiercely protective of his family's ministry. When he learned of Matthew's secret arrangement with Creflo Dollar, he allegedly pulled every string he could to neutralize the deal. Sources say Jimmy even brought in legal advisors, quietly paying off certain obligations and ensuring that, at least on paper, the agreement no longer posed a threat. But here's the twist. While the contract was terminated legally, it was never completely erased in spirit. Certain clauses remained ambiguous. Certain promises, especially financial ones, were left hanging. And according to insiders, Matthew still owed deliverables that were never fulfilled. This is where things get messy, because Jimmy's death has now reopened old wounds. After Jimmy's death, the demand from Creflo Dollar. Within weeks of Jimmy's passing, Creflo Dollar reportedly reached out directly to Matthew Swaggart. His tone, according to one insider, was both calm and commanding. "Matthew," he allegedly said, "your grandfather is no longer here to shield you. Our agreement still stands. It's time you honor your word." The demand was clear. Matthew must now shift his skills, time, and loyalty from the Swaggart family's empire to Creflo Dollar's ministry. And if he refuses? Sources suggest that Creflo may be ready to go public with the existence of the $20 million contract, potentially exposing Matthew and the Swaggart family to a scandal of historic proportions. Why Creflo wants Matthew so badly? On the surface, one might ask, why would a wealthy televangelist like Creflo Dollar fight so hard for Matthew's expertise? The answer is simple: power. Matthew isn't just another church worker. He's the mastermind behind the media evolution of the Swaggart empire. From Sun Life Broadcasting Network, SBN, to digital live streaming, from social media expansion to online giving platforms, Matthew's fingerprints are everywhere. While Donnie preaches and Gabriel leads worship, it's Matthew who makes sure the message reaches millions worldwide. Creflo Dollar, whose ministry has faced financial scrutiny and digital decline in recent years, sees Matthew as the missing piece to revive his empire. In other words, securing Matthew isn't just about enforcing a contract, it's about stealing the brain of the Swaggart operation. The one at $20 million question. The heart of this controversy lies in the alleged $20 million transaction. If true, this means Matthew didn't just sign an agreement, he accepted a life-changing sum of money from Creflo Dollar. Now, with Jimmy gone, the question is simple yet damning. Did Matthew repay that $20 million? If not, does Creflo Dollar legally and morally own a part of Matthew's future? And most importantly, does the Swaggart family even know the full truth of this deal? Some insiders whisper that Donnie and Gabriel are only now discovering the depth of Matthew's past dealings. Others say Frances Swaggart, the matriarch, knew all along and quietly relied on Jimmy to keep it buried. But one thing is certain. If this $20 million agreement comes fully into the light, it could shake the very foundation of the Swaggart family's empire. Family divisions brewing? Already, rumors are swirling that this new revelation has created tension within the family. Donnie, who has always been fiercely protective of the ministry, allegedly sees Matthew's secret past as a betrayal. Gabriel, on the other hand, is said to be torn, recognizing Matthew's mistakes but also knowing how vital he is to the ministry's survival. And Frances? Sources claim she is furious, not just at Creflo Dollar for exploiting her grandson, but at Matthew himself for ever putting the family in such a vulnerable position. One insider chillingly remarked, "This isn't just about Creflo Dollar versus Matthew. It's about whether the Swaggart empire survives without Jimmy at the helm. What happens if Matthew switches sides?" The possibility that Matthew could actually leave the Swaggart ministry is almost unthinkable. But what if he did? For Creflo Dollar, it would be a massive victory. Suddenly, his ministry would gain a brilliant strategist capable of rebuilding his media empire. For the Swaggarts, it would be a devastating blow. Losing Matthew would mean losing the very mind that modernized their operation. Without him, the ministry risks collapsing under outdated systems and internal chaos. For Matthew himself, it could either be redemption, fulfilling his debt to Creflo, or destruction, forever alienating his own bloodline. Either way, the stakes are higher than ever. Why now? The timing of Creflo's move. Observers are asking, why would Creflo Dollar wait until after Jimmy's death to resurface this contract? The answer may lie in the fact that Jimmy was the only one powerful enough to neutralize the agreement. His presence alone served as a barrier. With Jimmy gone, Creflo likely senses weakness in the family's unity and an opportunity to enforce his claim without resistance. It's not just about timing, it's about strategy. Creflo Dollar knows that the Swaggarts are vulnerable, grieving, and scrambling to secure their future leadership. By pressing his demand now, he increases the pressure on Matthew to comply. What the public doesn't know yet. For now, the details of this agreement remain hidden from the general public. The congregations of both ministries are largely unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes. But if even fragments of this story leak, it could trigger a media firestorm unlike anything either ministry has seen before. Imagine the headlines. Swaggart grandson secretly took $20 million from Creflo Dollar. Post-death scandal rocks Swaggart family ministry. Creflo Dollar demands control over Swaggart skills. For two ministries already scarred by past scandals, this could be the nail in the coffin. The whispers had turned into conversations. The conversations were morphing into arguments. And those arguments were now threatening to erupt into a full-blown family war. Because with Jimmy Swaggart gone, the fragile glue that held the empire together was gone too. And in that vacuum, Creflo Dollar's demand had become the spark that could ignite the powder keg. Frances Swaggart, the matriarch's fury. Those who know Frances describe her as steel in silk. Behind her grandmotherly smiles on camera lies a woman who has fought for decades to protect her husband's empire through scandal, betrayal, and near collapse. So when news of Creflo Dollar's demand reached her, insiders claim Frances was livid. Jimmy warned Matthew about this. She allegedly snapped in a closed-door meeting. And now that he's gone, this vulture comes back to collect? Over my dead body. Frances reportedly sees Creflo's move not just as a legal matter, but as a direct attack on the family's name. To her, this is about pride, legacy, and honor. If Matthew bends, it's not just his reputation at stake, it's the entire Swaggart dynasty. Donnie Swaggart, the protector turns aggressor. Donnie has always been the most outspoken of the Swaggarts. Known for his fiery sermons and explosive temper, he didn't hold back when the subject of Creflo Dollar came up. According to sources, Donnie confronted Matthew directly. "You sold yourself to him, Matthew. You put this family in danger, and now you expect us to fight your battles for you? No, you fix this. Or so help me, you're out." Those close to Donnie say he sees Matthew's deal as a betrayal, not just of the family but of the gospel itself. To him, Creflo represents greed, prosperity gospel manipulation, and everything the Swaggarts publicly denounce. The thought of his nephew working for Creflo Dollar is unbearable. And yet Donnie also knows one truth. Without Matthew's digital genius, the ministry may not survive. Gabriel Swaggart, torn between blood and ministry. If Donnie is the sword, Gabriel is the shield. More diplomatic, more cautious, Gabriel has often been the bridge between Matthew and Donnie. But even Gabriel is struggling. On one hand, he loves his cousin and recognizes that Matthew has been essential in keeping their ministry relevant in a digital world. On the other, he cannot ignore the seriousness of the $20 million debt. In private, Gabriel has allegedly urged Matthew to come clean publicly before Creflo does. Better they hear it from us, he warned, than see it splashed across headlines with Creflo pulling the strings. But Matthew? He remained silent. Matthew's silent. For weeks after Creflo Dollar's demand became known inside the family, Matthew Swaggart reportedly withdrew. He stopped attending certain meetings, dodged questions, and avoided even Francis at times. Those close to him say he is trapped between two worlds. If he stays loyal to his family, he risks a lawsuit from Creflo Dollar and public exposure of his secret dealing. If he switches to Creflo's side, he may gain protection from a man with deep pockets, but at the cost of his family's love and the ministry's stability. For Matthew, the silence isn't cowardice, it's paralysis. What the lawyers say. Behind the scenes, the family has quietly consulted legal experts. The consensus? The situation is complicated. On one hand, Jimmy's intervention years ago likely neutralized the agreement legally. On the other, if Matthew accepted $20 million and failed to deliver, Creflo Dollar may still have grounds for civil claims. Worse, if evidence surfaces of ongoing communication between Matthew and Creflo during the supposed dissolved period, it could look like fraud. One lawyer chillingly put it this way. This isn't just about ministry politics. If Creflo goes to court, Matthew could lose far more than reputation. He could lose assets, income streams, and even face criminal liability if fraud is alleged. The media leak threat. So far, everything is happening in whispers and private rooms, but multiple sources claim Creflo Dollar has a plan. If the Swaggarts don't comply, he will leak the contract to the press. The impact of such a leak would be catastrophic. Imagine church members discovering that Matthew, the quiet servant of God, secretly signed away